So when building out the AV for something like Wellspring, I do my best to come up with a plan that will fit the myriad possible outcomes that we could have for a project like this, simply because throughout the creation of this unique world, like, there are so many things that change as we get into this space and as we experience it, as it's being built. Sometimes the idea that we had, or how we were going to set something up, or how we were going to configure something, changes as we discover a different way to do it, or a better way to do it, or we change where we want speakers or where we want projectors. And so unfortunately, I don't have a clear blueprint when I start building out something like this. And so that evolves week over week and month over month, which could be kind of challenging or frustrating, but we end up with a much more uniquely constructed AV solution than maybe something that had a very clear plan from the beginning. But the other philosophy is that I am building something that has to live for many, many, many years, like decades. And I also want it to be able to breathe and evolve. And I'm leaving this in the care of the exhibit staff here at Conner Prairie, like I do when I've built other exhibits. And so I'm building it in a way that is as accessible as possible to the people who are going to manage and maintain it. So real clear controls here, buttons for volumes, up and down, not a whole lot of intermediary gear. And one of the tools that I like to use is this Binloop player, because it allows me to create synchronized timelines. We like to do stuff in sync here. And on this project, I wasn't sure if we were going to do 12 channels or 13 channels or 20 channels in sync, or however many we were going to do. But ultimately, we changed our approach and we ended up using 4 of the players in our Binloop for the TVs, which are playing on their own timeline and just looping through their videos. And then we have 4 of the channels that are audio. Those are the 3 different audio zones that we have, plus the subwoofers. And so those are playing out through our amps down here. One of our amplifiers is a stereo amp. And then we have 2 70-volt zones that are playing a mono in what we call the riverbank and the cave zones. And for our theater, I could have taken a more complicated approach, but I really chose just to use a Yamaha amplifier for that space, and then HD bass T converters for our projectors, and a Brightsign player for the film, because this is one of their larger units, which is capable of playing up to 4 4K videos in synchronization. So that we're using 3 4K videos to create our film. And then probably the most unique thing that I do on my projects is that for my control system, I'm using Home Assistant running on a Raspberry Pi. And this is an open source project. It has tons of integrations. So every device on our network, I'm able to either write an integration for, or one already exists, so that all of it can be controlled from there. And at the top of the unit, I have our Advatech Pixel controller. So this is a recorder, and then it plays back on up to 12 different control systems for our LED lights. So that's what we're working with. And then of course the network up top, and my crazy array of wires, of speaker wires and network cables, and the Advatech control cables, lots of Cat 6 and Cat 5e. Well, that's a look at what we're doing.